This is Never Down, Never Out with T.R. Matson. This podcast is about discipline when motivation fades, resilience when things get hard, and showing up when quitting would be easier. No hype, no shortcuts, just the mindset required to build something real. One day at a time. Let's get into it. Welcome back. Never down, never out. Good news. Still haven't had to shave, so I guess I've had some time off work, as I talked about yesterday. So that's good. Rolling into episode 41. This is a good one, I think. And I know it sounds silly when I say that. There's people that are like, every episode's good, and there's other people I'm sure out there that are like, why is this idiot still talking on a podcast? I really wish he'd stop. And that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. But I do think when you come up with 365 topics, there's going to be overlap. There's going to be some things that hit hard for some people and some that don't. And there is going to be some that I think just kind of apply to everybody. And this is one of the ones that I think applies to everybody, frankly. If you've been on this planet long enough, you've been trying to achieve things, you've been working towards any goal, it doesn't matter how old you are, there's going to be people that, or things that apply to today's topic. So again, thank you all for the support. Thanks for tuning in. This one, eliminating distractions that drain you. I mean, who has kids, right? Just kidding. I love my kids, love my family. But they can be, right? I mean, right now I'm recording hoping that they're not going to start screaming in the background and it bleeds through on the microphone. We'll see. Time will tell. But no matter what you're doing, no matter what environment you're in, you are going to have distractions, both in physical form, people around you, things like that, and then other things. It's just inevitable. I talked to the story way back in college when I got my own room and I was feeling pretty down because I hadn't accomplished or wasn't where I wanted to be. And I remember cleaning my desk, and I talked about that story and why that was so critical to me to clean the desk. Because one, I could control it, and it showed me that I was in control. But two, and more importantly, when I sat down to do my work, there wasn't a bunch of stuff looking back at me that caused me to be distracted. And that has kind of held true my whole life. My vehicles are usually fairly clean. My space is clean. Even when I go on trips, like I don't overpack. I tend to have a very neat and concise suitcase because I just don't want a bunch of extra stuff because it distracts me. Even I have a side bag that I keep in the plane, and I have that it's not cluttered with a bunch of stuff. I remember flying with people early on and they'd say, oh, I got to go through this like once every 6 months or once a year just to clean out all the junk in it. I don't think I've ever cleaned mine out. I know it's in there specifically, and that's it, and if something isn't meant to be in there, I throw it away. So these distractions, they're everywhere. I think the one that is the hardest to realize is the physical, the people in our lives. Whenever you set forth on a journey towards accomplishing a goal, I don't care what the goal is. Fitness or writing a book or becoming a pilot or a doctor or a lawyer or mending a relationship or it doesn't matter. Starting a ridiculous podcast, there's always going to be people that try to distract you. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think they're all consciously doing this. I think you have your social circles in life, whether that's your family or your close friends. And I think a lot of those people get comfortable in that circle. They get comfortable in the day-to-day grind or monotony or routine or however you want to define your day. And they're used to you showing up at work. They're used to you talking the same way, acting the same way, working the same way that you have. And then going home and repeating it the next day. Or if it's family, they're used to you waking up roughly the same time and acting roughly the same way. And, whether it's going to work or coming home or whatever it is, and you repeat that. Or your friends, when it's, hey, every Friday we go out, or, Sunday's football day, or whatever it is, they're used to you. They're relying on you to be there because that is their comfort zone. They're used to that. And then here you go and start changing. You start focusing on things that you want to work on. You start clearly defining your goals. You come up with a plan. You are taking steps forward to achieve what you want to achieve. And you're changing as a person. And the people that are going to last, they'll change with you. They'll be proud of you. They'll be your cheerleader. They're going to support you. But I'm here to tell you that don't expect that to be all of them. And certainly don't even expect that to be most of them. The people that have supported me throughout my life are a very small number of people. But they're the ones that have been there from the start, and they've never wavered because they want to see me succeed. All the others either didn't have a vested interest in it or were actually annoyed when I tried to accomplish something. And I used to think for the longest time that they were annoyed at me. But as I get older, I realize they're not. They're annoyed at themselves because of what I represented at the time. And we come and go out of people's lives. It's really interesting, in my opinion, this journey of life where, we are brought into people's lives and people are brought into our lives at different times for different reasons. And people leave our lives and you may never talk to them again. You may be Facebook friends forever, but you never actually, actively are friends after that time. But they were there for a reason. And what I've found is the people that often fall off don't fall off because I stopped trying. They fall off because I stopped prioritizing them. Because for my goal to be achieved, I had a different set of priorities. And with those different set of priorities, maybe going out every Friday night or football Sundays or whatever the habit pattern had been needed to change. The problem is they're not going to allow it to change easily. Because when that change happens, it scares them. Most people don't like change. Change is a very hard thing. So between when you decide you're going to go for a goal and when you actually achieve the goal, there's going to be a time there where you no longer are surrounding yourself with your old group of friends, but you haven't really gotten to meet the new people that'll influence your life, and it becomes very lonely. But it's critical. It's critical to go through that phase, the lonely phase, as I've heard people refer to it as, because without it, you'll never get to the next version of yourself. And the only way to get to the lonely phase is to take inventory of your life. And I want you to do this today. I want you to take a look at things, both material things. What is it that distracts you from your goal? Do you have too many other projects you're working on? Are you spread too thin? Are you trying to help too many people and not helping yourself? Look at all those things. Do you need to clean your desk? Right? Look at all those things and make a list right now and Let's get those things ticked off. Those are the easy ones, right? I can clean my desk. That doesn't take very long. The second phase of this is looking at the people in your life. And I want you to make 2 lists of the people that you interact with regularly. And I want you to put them in either column. They're either going to be a supporter or a distractor. And once you've got that list sorted, then anything work related towards your goal that gets put by the wayside because of somebody in the distractor category needs to stop, at least temporarily. And some of these people might be good friends, and sometimes you just have to tell them that. I did it when writing the books. You have to make those sacrifices. Nothing worth achieving is going to come without sacrifice. So you need to tell the people that are important to you, hey, for the next X amount of days, months, whatever, this is what I'm focusing on. I need your support. And hopefully they're on board and they realize it and they can go into the supporter line. But if they don't, you have to at some point eliminate that. It's the only way it's going to be. It's hard to do. There's no easy way to look at people in your life and essentially turn them off. There's just not. But if you want to be successful, if you want to truly reach your potential, it's the only way it happens. There's not a successful person on this planet that has spent all their initial time focusing on others. Unfortunately, it's just not the way it is. So we need to take a look at the people, and there are people important. You know, I talked about my non-negotiables. My family, they're not going to be outdone by my goals. It's just not going to happen. So, so I fit in the recordings and the writing and the exercise and the financial planning and all that around family time first. And sometimes that's tough. I mean, it just is. The calendar fills up quick, but you have to be efficient with your time. And sometimes that's exhausting, but that's the difference between being, productive and busy. We talked about that. So for those people, they're my non-negotiables. I'm not going to waver on them. For everybody else, I'm sorry. That's the way it goes. And I will do my absolute best to be there for as many people as I can and to help, because I think that's why we're on this planet. But I also have to be true to myself. So that's what I'm asking you today, is if you can make that list, and if you're honest with yourself, the list of supporters is likely going to be very small. So then you commit those people to memory, and those are the people. If a text comes, you can reply. If there's something to go do, if there's an event or something like that with those people, by all means. But everybody else that's not on that list, you got to eliminate them. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to tell them off or anything like that, but it's tough. But in order to eliminate those distractions, it takes a lot of intestinal fortitude. It takes some guts, because you're really putting it out there that, hey, this goal to me is more important than some of these other things. And we all know that we may fail at our goals. And we'll talk about that in the next section. That's a possibility, right? So you're really laying it out there and saying, you know what, I choose myself over this, and I'm going to work really hard to do my best and hope that it was the right choice. So, but without eliminating those distractions, the likelihood of you really reaching your potential is very slim. And I'm not saying you have to eliminate them forever. I'm not saying that, I don't have friends and I just sit in a closet and record on a podcast. That's not the case. But I definitely have figured out my priorities in life and work very hard to align those priorities with my beliefs and with what I'm shooting for. But I was not always good at it. It's tough. Peer pressure is a real thing. And again, it's not your fault that it's hard. And it's not their fault either, frankly. Because when you start changing, those around you start looking at themselves and going, well, what's up with him or her? What? And it's not a happy topic. And I know I'm not talking about it like it's a happy topic. It's tough. There's a lot of people that, I'm sometimes curious about how they're doing. Might miss some of our times together, but I knew that they were not the best people for me at the time, and I needed to move on. So take a look at those distractions today. Be honest with yourself. I believe in keeping your circle small. The people that are truly there to support you will understand. They will. And they'll always be there to support you. The people that don't probably will never understand. So, and that's okay. That's okay. Because it'll all work out in the end. I promise. So keep working hard today. Take a look at those distractions. Let's see which ones we can eliminate. Let's really maximize our time and our efficiency towards our goal. I appreciate you tuning in as always, and look forward to talking to you again soon. If this episode helped you, don't just listen, apply it. Progress is built in what you do after the message ends. Remember, never down, never out. I'll see you tomorrow.